My sister, Hazel, wanted to be the warden's wife. She drugged him during his grandmother's birthday feast. I had too much to drink that night. I wandered through the back garden. A hand pulled me into a dark room. The next day, I woke to chaos. The new warden, Caleb Vance, stared at us. He spoke with a rough voice. He said he would marry me. I stared back, my body aching. But what? I am a man. Northgate had not seen a new warden in a century. This cold, windswept town was always quiet. It only stirred when war was on the horizon. The previous warden lived a long life. He died at 88. His children were lost to sickness and battle. His extended family had moved south long ago. Northgate was without a leader for months. Then the capital sent a decree. General Caleb Vance was to be the new warden. He was leaving his post on the southern frontier. Rumors about the new warden arrived before him. He was born to a poor family. They wanted him to be a scholar. They named him with books and ink in mind. Caleb did not disappoint them. He was a brilliant and hardworking student. But at 14, war broke out in his homeland. He was conscripted into the army. For 6 years, there was no word. He returned home as a decorated captain. He rose through the ranks quickly. By 28, he was a renowned general. People said Caleb Vance was handsome and formidable. He had spent his life among soldiers. He had never married. He arrived in Northgate as its warden. But he retained his rank as a general. The capital gave him a unit of elite Griffin guards. Matchmakers buzzed with excitement. They saw opportunity at the warden's hall. My sister Hazel heard the talk. She wanted to be part of that opportunity. She begged our parents for 10 silver pieces. She wanted to bribe the local matchmaker. Our parents yelled at her. We did not have that kind of money. They told her we could never reach so high. They sent her to the smokehouse. She was not to dream such foolish dreams. I was turning the grindstone for fish paste. I saw the tears in her eyes. I whispered to her. I had 2 silver pieces saved. It was not much, but it was hers. Hazel's face lit up with a smile. She took my hidden savings. She added her own meager earnings. She scraped together 10 silver pieces. She went to see the matchmaker. Hazel was beautiful. She was known throughout Northgate for her looks. She wanted to gamble for a better future. I had to help her. The day the new warden arrived was a spectacle. The town's wealthy families gathered. All the eligible young women were there. Hazel wore her finest dress. She stood by the street to catch his eye. She did not help at the smokehouse that day. The burden fell entirely on me. I struggled through the crowd with a heavy yoke. I carried 2 baskets of our smoked salmon. I had not seen so many people in Northgate. Usually, everyone stayed inside to escape the cold. A young woman bumped into me. My baskets fell to the dusty ground. The salmon nearly spilled out. I cursed at her to watch where she was going. She glared at me impatiently. She told me I was blocking her view. I was in the way of her seeing the warden. I was tall from years of hard labor. I did not need to stand on my toes. I could easily see the man on the tall horse. Caleb Vance had a face not common in the north. Perhaps the southern sun had been kind to him. He did not look 28. He looked like a young officer in his early 20s. His features were sharp and defined. A strong brow made his dark eyes seem deep. His nose was straight, his lips thin. He looked severe and handsome. He did not look like he came from poverty. He seemed surprised by the size of the crowd. His tall frame was stiff on the horse. He scanned the people with a frown, but he did not order anyone to be quiet. I mumbled to the merchant beside me. The new warden was more refined than the old one. The merchant laughed at my observation. He said that with such a handsome face, Caleb would break many hearts. The young men of Northgate would have trouble finding wives. The merchant joked and asked if I was nervous. I laughed back. The women he wanted would never look at me. I had nothing to be nervous about. Just then, I felt a burning gaze on me. I turned my head to look. I saw Caleb Vance's eyes pass over my face. A shiver went down my spine. I chided myself for joking about the new warden. Thankfully, his procession moved on. The crowd followed them. I quickly picked up my baskets. I went to find my parents. That evening, my sister returned home. Her face was flushed with excitement. She announced her intention to marry him. My father asked who she meant. Hazel's voice was firm. She meant Caleb Vance. My mother poured cold water on her dreams. She told Hazel to forget it. Dozens of wealthy daughters were vying for his attention. We were just a poor family from the smokehouse. Hazel's face went pale. She sank into a chair, utterly defeated. I agreed with my parents. He was far beyond our reach. A month later, news spread. The new warden was hosting a feast. It was for his grandmother's 70th birthday. He invited the entire town. No gifts were required. Everyone could come for a bowl of stew. People said he was a good man. Tim, who worked as a guard at the hall, told me otherwise. Tim said the warden was no saint. He called Caleb a cold-faced devil. The feast was a way to assess the powerful families. It was a ploy to win over the common people. The warden had replaced the old staff. He brought in his own people. He ordered the local guards to train with his Griffin Guard. Anyone who failed the assessment in 2 months would be dismissed. Tim's job was secure for now, but he complained about the harsh training. One evening, Hazel pulled me aside. She asked if I could speak to Tim. She wanted him to help her get into the hall. I was shocked. She had not given up on her dream. I warned her that Caleb seemed dangerous. She should not provoke him. Hazel's voice was sharp. She asked if I wanted her to marry some old man. I was silent. Beautiful women like my sister attracted attention. Honest men admired her but feared she was too ambitious. Wealthy men wanted her only as a concubine. I knew my sister had high standards. Compared to them, Caleb Vance was the perfect choice. In a moment of weakness, I agreed to help her. On the day of the feast, Tim helped us. We delivered salmon to the warden's hall. Tim watched as my sister gave me her plain outer coat. She revealed a beautiful yellow dress underneath. She blended into the crowd of wealthy guests. Tim stood beside me by the wall. He sneered after a long silence. He said a toad could not dream of eating swan meat. I was angry. I told him my sister was no toad. Tim just smiled at me. He said he was talking about the warden. He grabbed my collar. He told me to watch my sister. She could get herself killed. I realized then that Tim was fond of my sister. I much preferred him as a brother-in-law. I watched Hazel all day. She spoke with the other young women. She managed to approach the warden's parents. To them, all the guests seemed the same. They saw my sister's beauty. They thought she might be a good match for their son. They asked her a few questions. My sister was clever with her answers. The feast was about to begin. Caleb Vance finally appeared. He had been greeting guests at the entrance. He saw the crowd of young women near his table. His expression darkened. His mother simply smiled. She said his grandmother enjoyed a lively party. I watched from a corner table. I saw Hazel take a tray from a servant. She subtly brushed her hand over a teacup. She respectfully offered it to Caleb. Under the bright lights, I saw silver powder on her fingertips. My blood ran cold. She was risking our entire family's lives. Caleb did not seem to notice. His eyes lingered on Hazel for a moment. Then he impatiently asked where his grandmother was. His father scolded him. Caleb suppressed his irritation and drank the tea. I watched him swallow. He paused, a flicker of confusion on his face. My heart pounded. He had drunk it. Suddenly, his grandmother arrived. Caleb quickly put down the cup and stood to greet her. He was more handsome than the rest of his family. He had the stern look of a northern man. His family looked more like simple farmers. The feast began. Northgate's elite were eager to impress him. Toasts and flatteries were endless. Only the patrolling Griffin guards seemed out of place. Their sharp eyes scanned everyone. I was forced to drink several toasts. I started to feel dizzy. I saw Hazel being pushed to the edge of the crowd. I decided to find Tim to get her out. The hall was packed with people. I could not slip past the guards. I wandered into a garden. The garden was beautiful, with red plum trees and a frozen lake. The flowers bloomed despite the cold. I leaned in to get a closer look. A figure stepped out from behind a tree. He demanded to know who was there. I was startled and slipped. I fell toward the plum tree. A hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. He twisted my arm behind my back. He pinned me against the tree trunk. His voice was low and menacing. He asked who I was. The man behind me was burning hot. His breath was hot on my neck. I told him I was just passing through. I said I was lost and couldn't find the exit. The man started to release me. Then his body tensed. He pressed against me, letting out a pained groan. I caught a glimpse of his face. It was the warden. It was Caleb. He saw me and froze. He was surprised to see a man. His breathing grew heavy. Sweat beaded on his forehead. He suddenly said he was sorry. The next moment, he lifted me. He moved with surprising speed. He leaped across the garden. He carried me into a dark room. He threw me onto a bed. He knelt beside me, his eyes shining in the dark. He asked if I knew who he was. I was dazed and confused. I managed to say that he was the new warden. He seemed satisfied. He leaned closer. He asked for my name. The large man loomed over me. I instinctively replied, Liam Quinn. He let out a soft sound. He whispered my name. He asked me to help him. The alcohol and the heat overwhelmed me. I only remember his hot body pressed against mine. I remember him whispering my name, Liam. The next morning, I woke up in agony. A man stood by the bed. He wore only a thin robe. His dark eyes were fixed on me. I shot up in bed, stuttering his name. I forgot my own disheveled state. The shame was unbearable under his gaze. Caleb's voice was raspy when he spoke. He said he would marry me. I stared at him, my mind reeling. I told him I was a man. What man marries another man? I asked if he was joking. He ignored my shock. He showed no shame for what had happened. He simply said my face was familiar. It resembled the woman who served him tea. My angry protests died in my throat. He remembered my sister. He picked up my clothes from the floor. He handed them to me. Hazel's red coat had a long tear. He spoke calmly. In 3 days, he would come to my house. He would bring the betrothal gifts. There was no precedent for a man to be married off. If I married him, I would be a laughingstock. He was a general and a warden. Did he not care for his reputation? I tried to refuse. He did not answer directly. He asked what I thought he would find. If he searched every apothecary in the city. I saw the faint mockery on his handsome face. My heart sank. He was too smart for my sister's little schemes. I could not let her be executed. She had always been kinder to me than our parents. I knew I had no choice. It was a strange twist of fate. The dream of every girl in Northgate was to be my husband. When Caleb Vance brought the gifts, my sister broke everything. The neighbors gathered to watch the spectacle. Tim's grandfather was in the crowd. He looked at Caleb with surprise. He started to say the new warden looked familiar. Caleb shot him a sharp glance. The old man stammered. He said Caleb looked very handsome. My parents were stunned when they saw him. They could not speak. When they learned his intentions, their faces changed. They shut the door on the warden. Hazel ripped open my collar. She saw the bruises on my neck. She asked if this was her fault. I remained silent. That night, Caleb's trusted man, Alex, had escorted me home. He had left me with 2 jars of salve. Hazel was not a fool. My parents were not either. They were shaking with rage. Now Caleb was here. He brought gifts befitting a warden's bride. My only flaw was being a man. My father said Caleb must be cursed. He suggested hiring a priest. My mother slapped him. She told him not to slander an official. Hazel stood up, ready to confess. She said the drug was her doing. She would rather go to jail than let me suffer this shame. I knew she still held out hope. Maybe Caleb would be impressed by her beauty. Maybe he would let her take my place. But I knew Caleb was not that kind of man. She could not confess. It would doom our family. I grabbed my sister. I used all my strength to knock her unconscious. I gave her to my parents. I told them no one was to speak of this. When I opened the door, Caleb was still there. He was standing straight, showing no impatience. He saw me and bowed respectfully. He spoke for all the neighbors to hear. He said he was sincere in his request. He asked me to give him a chance. I knew he was acting. I knew he had other motives. A general does not get transferred to this remote place without reason. Marrying a common man was a clever move. It avoided alliances with powerful families. My own relatives would disown me in shame. They would not try to use him for influence. He could use me as a shield. He could consolidate his power in Northgate. And that night I had not resisted. I had been chosen. I closed my eyes. I accepted my fate as his pawn. I told him I would marry him. My sister had wronged him. This was my way of repaying that debt. The wedding was delayed until spring. The capital had to approve such an unusual union. Surprisingly, the president did not object. He even sent us a gift of jade pendants. With his approval, the gossip quieted down. My sister became quiet and withdrawn. She no longer looked at Caleb with desire. She thought both of us had gone mad. On my 20th birthday, Caleb visited. He ignored Hazel's hostile glares. He looked at me for a long time. He pointed to the mole on my neck. He said black did not suit me. I should wear red. Was he talking about Hazel's torn coat? At dinner, he was quiet. He listened to my parents talk. He naturally placed food on my plate. It was always scrambled eggs. I wondered if he was a picky eater. Before he left, he pressed a small package into my hand. He whispered for me to stop scowling. He touched the back of my hand and smiled. He would see me at the wedding. In my room, I opened the package. It contained several candied crab apples. They were bright red and coated in golden sugar. I did not know where he found them in winter. His gift was a branch of red plum blossoms. Beneath it was a jade pendant on a blue cord. It was exquisitely made and very valuable. I was confused. He was putting in so much effort. It was also unnecessary. Our wedding day was a grand affair. Caleb did not make me wear a bride's dress. We both wore red men's attire. We rode tall horses through the streets. I could feel the strange looks from the townspeople. I could hear their muffled laughter. I did not understand why he wanted such a public ceremony. He could have been more discreet. Since I was a man, I did not wait in the bridal chamber. I joined him in toasting the guests. By the time we returned to our room, I was drunk. A servant helped us change. Then she left, closing the door behind her. I grabbed a blanket, intending to sleep elsewhere. Caleb grabbed my arm. He pulled me and the blanket onto a chair. His eyes were hazy from the wine. He said we had not drunk the ceremonial wine yet. I waved my hand, my tongue thick. I told him I could not drink anymore. We could drink it tomorrow. He pressed the cup into my hand. He insisted we drink. I quickly drank the wine with him. Then I stood up, holding my blanket. I told him I was going to sleep. He pulled me back again. He said the bed was over there. I finally lost my temper. I started hitting him with my blanket. I yelled at him to leave me alone. There was a sharp crack. I think my shoulder bone popped out of its socket. Caleb calmly put my arm back in place. He wrapped me in the blanket. He lifted me easily. He tossed me onto the bed. He said husbands and wives do not sleep apart. He fell asleep almost immediately, but my arm was dislocated again. I could not fight him. I fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, he was already dressed. He fixed my shoulder again. He told me to get up. We had to greet the elders. He showed no remorse. He was the warden. I could not afford to offend him. Caleb's family was small. Only his grandmother and parents had come to Northgate. It was unusual for elderly parents to move to such a harsh place. It was as if he needed them close by. As I followed him, I sensed a complex power struggle. When I served tea to his parents, they looked at me with tears. They accepted me warmly. They gave me a red envelope as was custom. His mother said she did not know what to teach me. She couldn't very well teach me sewing. Caleb already had a plan. He said I was a man. I would not follow the old rules. I would accompany him. He would be my teacher. So my husband became my instructor. He had me follow him everywhere. His men called me warden consort once. Caleb punished them with extra guard duty. After that, they simply called me Liam. He discussed military matters in front of me. I listened, though I understood little. In his study, he gave me classic books to read. He made me practice my handwriting. He had me train with the guards. I became friends with Tim. After a few days, I was exhausted. My hands ached too much to hold chopsticks. His family saw my struggle. They just told the servants to give me more food. The only good thing was our nights. We slept in the same bed, but we were just sleeping side by side. Confirmed my suspicion. He married me only as a cover. He was not truly interested in men. On the day we visited my family, Tim came with us. My parents had accepted our marriage. They prepared a lavish meal to save face. Caleb ate very little of the fancy dishes. He ate half a pot of fish stew with old tofu. I asked if he liked fish. He shook his head. He told my mother the tofu was different. It had the taste of home. My mother's cold demeanor softened a little, but she still did not smile. My parents seemed to dislike him intensely. My sister's attitude was still stiff. She asked Caleb if she could visit me often. Caleb gave her a meaningful look. He said she was always welcome. As we left, he had his men take 2 baskets of tofu. Tim had been trying to get Hazel's attention. She just gave him a cold look and went inside. A few days later, I heard our smokehouse was booming. People lined up to buy our salmon. They said if the warden liked it, it must be good. Caleb had found a way to keep my sister busy. I started training with the guards every day. Time passed quickly. I was always tired and hungry. Caleb sometimes taught me personally. He would show me a page of text. Then he would make me copy his handwriting 10 times. His calligraphy was beautiful and strong. I could only manage a pale imitation. He laughed at my efforts. He told me my writing was still very good. When he guided my hand, my name looked powerful. He rested his chin on my shoulder. He whispered that he liked my name. He said Liam meant strong-willed warrior. I had never thought of my name that way. He was so close. His hands wrapped around my waist. He whispered in my ear. He was glad I was here with him in Northgate. My face flushed hot. I dropped the pen, flustered. I stammered that I needed to go practice archery. That night, Caleb cornered me in the study. He said he was hungry. He wanted some of our smoked salmon. I told him I would go buy some. He grabbed the back of my neck. He pushed me down onto the desk. He said that was not the salmon he wanted. We were, after all, husband and husband. That night, we did not make it back to the bedroom. We fell asleep on the narrow couch in his study. In a half-dream, I heard him whisper. He said Northgate was dangerously quiet. The next day, a nobleman reported a death in his family. He needed to leave the city with his entire household. It was the Gao family who dealt in furs. Caleb sneered. The relative had died 20 years ago. It was a poor excuse to flee. I sensed something was wrong. Caleb ordered 2 of Gao's sons and a grandson to stay. He said business could not be neglected. He let the others go. I asked him what was happening. He told me the wealthy families were leaving Northgate. He asked if I, a local, had noticed. I realized it was true. Northgate used to be a busy trading hub, but lately trade had dwindled. Many rich families had moved away. Caleb asked me when people run with their whole families. I felt a chill. I knew the answer. They run when war is coming. The peaceful days in Northgate were numbered. Caleb asked me to tell him about the city's history. I told him what I knew. I spoke of the old warden. He had been a scholar, not a soldier. But when the Crimson clans attacked, he led the fight. He and his sons defended the city bravely. They died as heroes. After his death, no help came from the capital. I asked Caleb why everything changed when he arrived. Was it because he was a general? Alex, his lieutenant, warned me to watch my words. Caleb waved him off. He told me the politics of the capital were complex. He agreed the old warden was a hero. Then he looked at me with a new respect. He said he did not realize I had such a keen mind. He praised my character. I felt a blush of pride. At that moment, a servant announced my family had arrived. My parents said I looked healthier. My sister seemed less angry with me. She brought my favorite honey cakes. Our family was together again. Caleb's family was very kind. They treated me like their own son. They had even turned the back garden into a vegetable patch. They were simple, hard-working people. At lunch, Caleb's grandmother remarked that Hazel and I looked different. My mother explained that we were 2 years apart. Hazel was tall and slender with sun-darkened skin. I was paler and thinner from a childhood illness. I joked that my sister was the beautiful one. Caleb immediately disagreed. He said I was better looking. He added that Hazel did not look like she was from Northgate. A strange tension filled the room. His father scolded him for being rude. Later, I took Hazel to the garden. I wanted to give Tim a chance to talk to her. She asked about my new life. She was surprised to hear I was involved in the warden's affairs. I told her what I could. When Tim arrived, I made an excuse and left. From a distance, I saw them talking. There was progress. That night, I confronted Caleb. I asked why he had been rude to my sister. He was leaning back in his chair. He calmly asked if he was wrong. He said my sister looked more like someone from the Crimson clans. My anger vanished. It was true. There was a resemblance. Seeing my reaction, Caleb became serious. He asked if I ever wondered why Hazel drugged him. I argued that many girls wanted to marry him. She was desperate. He shook his head. He asked a more shocking question. Had I ever considered that Hazel was not my real sister? A thunderclap went off in my head. I jumped up, furious. I told him not to speak such nonsense. He grabbed my shoulders. He told me to calm down. Her appearance was too unusual. I refused to believe him. He sighed. He said he had not wanted to tell me so soon, but the situation was urgent. He said he suspected it was true. I realized he must want something from me. He would not reveal such a secret otherwise. He was right. He mentioned the old warden again. He said the Crimson Clans had planted spies in Northgate for decades. The president had sent him here to root them out. I was just a commoner. I did not understand such high-level politics. I asked what this had to do with me or my sister. Caleb smiled a sad smile. He said it was because I was from Northgate. That one sentence was almost a death sentence. I clenched my jaw. I asked him if he had married me as part of this plan. Did he know my connection from the start? He did not answer my question directly. He said the Crimson Clans had a new, ambitious king. He had trained a large navy. They planned to invade before the sea froze over. I was stunned. It was happening so soon. They usually attacked in winter when the river was ice. Caleb said we did not have much time. He needed my help. His gaze was soft, but his eyes were sharp. I knew I could not refuse. I went home for the first time, taking only Tim with me. On the way, I asked him if he liked my sister since childhood. He scoffed. He said she was a scrawny, dark-skinned girl back then. She had a huge appetite. He said she was like a starving ghost when she first arrived. He stopped abruptly. He realized I had tricked him. My heart went cold. He saw my expression and sighed. He told me what the neighbors all knew. My sister, Hazel, was an abandoned child. Our parents found her outside the smokehouse. That year I was 10. I got lost in the woods while chasing rabbits. My parents searched for 3 days. They thought a wolf had eaten me. Hazel, to repay their kindness, went looking for me. She found me in a hollow tree, half dead. She saved my life. I had been sick for a year after that. My memory became poor. My parents gave up on my education. They decided I would take over the smokehouse. Hazel had always protected me. I had forgotten she was not always there. At home, everything seemed normal at first, but I started noticing things. My sister kept asking about Caleb. My parents did too. They asked about his hometown, his family, his habits. It was more than simple curiosity. They seemed obsessed with his past. On the 3rd day, Caleb came to pick me up. He was wearing his armor. He looked every bit the powerful general. He smiled when he saw me. He said he was taking me home. When I told Caleb everything, I knew I had made my choice. He listened patiently. Then he appointed me as his deputy warden. He said if anything happened to him, I would command the Griffin Guard. He took the jade pendants the president had sent. He showed me they were 2 halves of a seal. Together, they formed the Imperial Command Sigil. He placed the chain around my neck. He told me to show it to Alex in an emergency. He was entrusting me with everything. I tried to refuse. He grabbed my hands. He asked if I was going to run away now. I sank into a chair, overwhelmed. He just looked at me with a complex, gentle expression. He knew I was not a coward. The town buzzed with rumors about my new position. Tim said people thought I had bewitched the warden. My family was moved into the warden's hall for their safety. I knew it was also to keep them under surveillance. The situation grew tense. Other wealthy families tried to flee. Caleb stopped them, confiscating their wealth and holding their sons. He made me take on more public duties. I inspected city defenses. I checked grain stores. I mingled with the people. I became a familiar and trusted face. It seemed I had more influence than Caleb himself. I told my family the Crimson Clans were threatening war. That was why Caleb was cracking down. My sister murmured that he seemed prepared. That night, I watched with Caleb from the shadows. I saw Hazel sneak out of the hall. My eyes filled with tears. Caleb comforted me. He said at least Tim was not a traitor. Alex returned with Tim. He reported that Hazel had met with the owner of the main grain store. The store supplied the entire city. It was the perfect hub for a spy network. The owner was a Northgate native. How could he betray his own city? I knew we had to act fast. The autumn harvest was a month away. War then would mean starvation in winter. The Crimson clans were smart. They were attacking during our busiest season. Caleb had been preparing for this since his arrival. I finally understood his every move. I was no longer just a pawn. I was his partner. We planned our next move. Tim was part of the meeting. He looked devastated. His love for Hazel was now a terrible lie. Then he suggested a plan. He would propose to Hazel. A big wedding would be the perfect distraction. It would create an opportunity. It would force the enemy's hand. I looked at Tim, concerned. He just smiled sadly. He said it was a grand stage for his wedding. It was also a fitting end for Hazel. When Tim proposed, Hazel was stunned. Then she burst into tears and threw herself into his arms. For a moment, I believed she truly loved him. The wedding was set for early autumn. Northgate was abuzz. The warden's brother-in-law was marrying his chief of guards. People said I had Caleb wrapped around my finger. The gossip was infuriating. Caleb just found it amusing. He told me to focus on the plan. On the wedding day, the warden's hall was a hive of activity. Alex took most of the Griffin Guard to the river. They set an ambush for the Crimson Clan's ships. Tim went to my family's old house to escort the bride. I watched my mother brush Hazel's hair. They looked like any mother and daughter. Hazel told our mother not to work so hard anymore. She said we would take care of them. For a moment, she was just Hazel Quinn again. A guard gave me a report. 2,000 enemy soldiers had landed. They were being tracked. Our men were disabling their ships. But there were too many. What about the rest of their army? At the hall, the ceremony began. Tim and Hazel looked like any happy couple. They knelt before our parents. As the final vows were spoken, I heard a distant explosion. It was not fireworks. I looked at Caleb. He was gone, already heading for the city walls. I was in charge of the hall. I gave the signal to the guards. The drugged soup was served to the suspected spies. Tim began the reception toasts. He cleverly disarmed several men while pretending to be drunk. A distant relative of Tim's slurred his words. He said I was starting to look like the warden. Then he said Caleb looked like my grandfather. He said my father, Liam Quinn Sr., looked nothing like him. I froze. The old man passed out. A chill ran through me. Something was wrong. The pieces didn't fit. I found Tim's grandfather. I asked him what he meant. He was sober now. He just laughed and said he was joking. He said I was the boy Hazel found in the woods. He said my parents raised me instead of their own son. He called it a karmic debt. My blood ran cold. I was not Liam Quinn. Then Caleb was. The battle horns sounded. War had come to Northgate. The spies in the hall tried to attack. They found themselves too weak to lift their weapons. The poison was working. I drew my sword. Tim stood with me. We would defend the warden's hall. The fighting lasted for hours. By the end, we had secured the hall. I saw my parents, their faces pale with terror. Caleb's parents were calm, a rock of stability. Only one place was left. My sister was in the bridal chamber. Tim went to face her alone. I went to my parents' room. I asked them about my childhood sickness. I said other children didn't recognize me after. Their forced smiles told me everything I needed to know. That night I dreamt. I dreamt of a battlefield. I dreamt of running. I dreamt of a cold, snowy forest. A boy found me. He gave me his clothes. He saved my life. A voice said, "Use my name. I am Caleb Vance." I woke with a start. Caleb was beside me. He had returned from the battle. He held me, trying to calm my nightmare. I looked at him, truly looked at him. The face in my dream matched his. My voice was a hoarse whisper. I told him I had been to war. I had been a deserter. He tried to deny it. He said I was tired and confused. But his trembling hands betrayed his fear. I took his hand. I told him I remembered. We were silent for a long time. Then he held me tightly. He sounded like he was breaking. He said I was cruel. I made him take my place. I made him care for my family. And I had forgotten him completely. I stroked his hair. I told him I was sorry. My sickness had stolen my memories. He just held me. He asked if I liked my name. I remembered what he had told me once. I smiled. I told him I did. Liam, a strong-willed warrior. It was a good name. The aftermath of the battle was chaotic. We worked side by side, my husband and I. The Crimson clans sent envoys to negotiate peace. Their surprise attack had failed spectacularly. Tim reported that Hazel was now our agent. She would feed her handlers false information. The enemy within was now our weapon. One day, Caleb took me riding. We went to the forest west of Northgate. The autumn leaves were a riot of color. This was where we first met. He told me his side of the story. He was the real Caleb Vance, a poor scholar's son, forced into the army. He was gentle and unused to military life. He was bullied and abused. He ran, wanting only to die in the snow. I found him. I, Liam Quinn, the unwanted son of the smokehouse owner. I was a tough, lonely boy who hated his life. I saw a chance to escape. I gave him my coat. I took his identity. I went to a different army. I found I was a natural soldier. I rose to become a general. I sent for my family, my real family. I never stopped looking for him. The boy who saved me, the boy whose life I stole. He told me the president sent him to Northgate. He knew the situation was dire. He also knew he would find me here. He saw me on his first day. He knew he had to have me. He engineered everything. The drugged tea, the night in the room, the forced marriage. He did it all to keep me safe. He did it all to keep me by his side. He called himself a greedy, despicable man. He had stolen my life. Now he had stolen me too. I looked at the man before me, my husband, a celebrated hero who called himself a villain, a man who carried my name and my burdens, a man who thought I was the better version of himself. I asked him what he truly loved about me. He corrected me. He said, "I love you, Caleb Vance. I love that you always held on to me. You gave me freedom and a cage of my own making. You became a better me. And now you are mine." The wind rustled through the trees. It was the wild wind of the north. It was the wind that blew through the place where we began.